Greetings and salutations, this is Imperator Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
Hello.
We're having a look today at Frostgrave and Ghost Archipelago Snakemen, which is a new one on me.
It's not a word.
It's not been at what isn't?
Archipelago.
We've only just started the video and you're already picking up on the writing.
It's not a word.
Archipelago is a collection of string of islands.
Someone invented that word.
Yes, they did. To describe a group of islands.
They got arc, a, and go, and then told his mate to think of four letters, I-P-E-L, and stuck them together.
Okay, I don't know. Archipelago sounds vaguely Latin or Spanish or something like that.
It doesn't sound like any language.
It doesn't come from any of the English tongues. So.
Archipelago.
Yeah. Arc, old? No.
No, an arc is an arc.
What?
Arc.
No, that's
It's an arc.
That's Hebrew.
It's an arc.
Yeah, and it's not spelled the same anyway. It's in Greek, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Anyway, these are the Ghost Archipelago Snakemen.
Archipelago.
Whatever. And honestly, I don't play Frostgrave Ghost. I don't play Ghost Archipelago anyway. It's just I wanted the lizard men because I think lizard men are cool. Oh, sorry, snake men because snake men are cool. And I have a big plan for the snake men. I'm planning on building an army of them, and it's going to be a really cool game.
If you tilted that anymore, it'd be a slash.
Well, it's snake men.
It'd be a slash if you tilted it anymore.
Yes, but it's linked because it's snake man.
They didn't link it that well, did they?
Snake men.
It's not really straight. We should be the unboxing critics. That's what we should be.
Yeah, I mean, this will be banned in the European Union soon enough anyway because it's men, not snake people.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Sorry.
So it should
like
be snake.
history.
Oh, it should be snake mixin because they changed the X to because they're stupid and unbelievably daft. Anyway, who cares? These are lizard men, and I really wish. Sorry, snake men. I really wish snake men were real and still lived on Earth today because they could deal with a lot of the world's problems for us. Anyway. These are the snake men. You get these bases in with it, which are going to come in very handy. Well, for me anyway. And these are the sprues. I'll just check. I haven't had a look at them yet. I believe they're all the same. Do you get a command sprue? No, you don't appear to get a command sprue. They all seem to be more or less the same. Okay, so here we are. What we have is a sprue with 5 warriors on it along here. If I move it forward a bit, get a better view. Just there, we've got 5 warriors, 5 different bodies, and then a large collection of heads and weapons.
And Roman shields.
Yeah, tower shield. That's a tower shield. That's a Roman shield. Alright, tower shield isn't an actual historical term. Tower shield simply means a shield that can cover an entire man's body. A bit like a purvey's. And they're used to hide behind when your enemy have lots of arrows to fire at you, usually.
And a Falmir bow.
Yes, a Falmir bow. Well done.
Okay.
So we have quite a few snake heads. That's a nice snarling one there. And an interesting assortment of weapons. There's lots of heads in it. You're going to be able to get a lot out of this box.
It's Murkov, the other Dragonborn's knife.
Yep. I think that's a bone that he's using. So you've got a spear, another spear there. A nice bow. So, and a crossbow. So a nice little collection of weapons that they've got there. What do you think of lizard men? Oh, sorry, snake men.
Well, I used to have an army of lizard men.
Yes, you did.
And then they disappeared.
Yes.
I think you sold them.
Well, we weren't playing with them. They were in 10 mil though, weren't they?
No, yeah, 10 mil.
Yeah. So what weapons do you think snake men would usually carry?
Bones.
Why bones?
Well, of course, snake men eat a lot of things with bones.
And I might explain that weapon there.
Now that one in the picture looks like, well, that looks like some teeth. Like
That's that there.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
it does look
shark.
like it is bone of some kind, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a thigh bone that he's using as a sharpened weapon. Not a bad weapon. Personally, I prefer something made of steel.
That one's decorated. It's a snake. Can you get it? Snake.
Or maybe it's because they simply can't make things in straight lines, so when they try to make a blade, it comes out wobbly. No, maybe it's the style of fighting. The weapons are all quite wavy, aren't they?
I think I've seen it before.
Yeah. Oh, very much like them. The Frostgrave cultists have the same sort of weapons on their sprue.
I think I've seen it in a game before.
Well, it's fantasy, isn't it? So you find all sorts of stuff. And in fact, there's hardly anything in fantasy that wasn't used in the medieval period anyway.
Fantasy is medieval.
It's set in the medieval
always.
period, and so most fantasy weapons are actually weapons that existed.
I mean, like Dragonborn's fantasy, so I probably got from that. Yeah.
So, weaponry-wise, they look perfectly fine. I'm not, like I said, I'm not really sure what weapons lizard men would actually use. Bows would be a good one. If you think about snakes, they're basically a huge muscle. So, you could certainly draw and fire a bow quite easily without too much effort if you're a snake man.
Heavily armoured.
Yes, they've got a decent amount of armour on them, haven't they? And it's segmented as well, which is exactly what you'd wear if you were a snake man, because you wouldn't want to wear plate. Because if you wore solid plate, you're a snake. You're going to wiggle out of it. Yeah. So you're going to need either segment tartar or chain mail. So that seems like a good choice. This appears to be leather strips on the base of some of them. You see it better on the other side? There, they've got the straps that hold the armour on them. They're going to need quite a few straps after all. They are snake men, they're going to be wibbly. And there are some leather strips there and there. He appears to have a bit of mail on him, so not a bad collection. They appear to be quite, how can I put it, barbarian-y.
No, barbarians don't have engineered weapons. They have weapons they nicked from other
Well,
people.
they do. I mean, the Celts had a huge steel industry.
I wouldn't call them barbarians.
Well, okay.
They had a leadership.
Okay. Yeah, but there were a lot of disparate individual groups. You take the Romans, they built stuff on industrial scale. Or the Egyptians built stuff on industrial scale. They had an actual place where all the swords are produced for the army, or all the pilums, the spears are produced, or they have a guy who makes all the Roman shields. These seem a lot more Celtic in a way, because all the weapons are quite individualistic, so you've probably got a handful of smiths here and there all over the place churning out weapons that they'll sell for a fang or whatever they use as currency, or gold, whatever. So anarchistic, would that be a better word?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, the Celts were quite anarchistic, weren't they? In the modern, well, not in the modern usage, but they had a centralised local king who would then, between the local kings, would choose another king to rule over all of them. But they were very individualistic.
Like a feudal type system.
Yes, because you had, when the Romans invaded Gaul, a huge amount of Gauls joined the Romans. All the individual leaders would join the Romans in exchange for money or whatever the Romans were offering. The same with the Germans. The Germans did the same. Because you've got individual tribes, you haven't got one united kingdom. And in fact, when one king did unite all the Gallic tribes, they proved a huge problem for the Romans. Good old Vercingetorix, who united all the tribes together and actually bet the Romans for a short period of time before the Romans finally won. The same with the chap in Germany. He did the same. He managed to get all the tribes together and he wiped out the legions of Varus.
Yeah, Spartacus got all the slaves together.
Spartacus?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, well, most of those were ex-Roman soldiers. They were veteran soldiers or Roman soldiers who changed sides. So the idea that it was a slave army is a joke.
No, definitely say
No, that's Hollywood. That's not reality. Reality is Spartacus was a Roman officer in the Roman army who committed treason, and so was he chose to become a gladiator, which is a very good way out of going to prison or being executed. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. The rebellion actually started in Pompeii.
I'm aware.
Yeah, they actually climbed Mount Vesuvius to hide from the Romans. Because at the time, Mount Vesuvius was all vines and trees. It was like a jungle. It was a mountain covered in trees. It wasn't the huge hole with lava spitting out of it that we live with today. And the Romans knew. There was a book published 50 years before the eruption of Vesuvius proving that Vesuvius was a volcano. Because people didn't believe it.
People lived on it.
Yeah, and 50 years later it exploded and killed all the people who said, that's not a volcano, I'm going to carry on living here. But all the people who paid attention probably moved to Naples, in which case they died when the ash cloud came down and suffocated them.
Yeah, you can't get away from it.
And actually Naples is actually on the rim of a super volcano.
Did Scotland used to be a massive volcano?
Yes, that was a super volcano as well. Or bits of Scotland were. This plate tectonics move things around.
Which is why there's a massive, basically, circle of mountainness
that's
around
why,
the centre.
hence all the granite. Granite is lava, basically. When lava gets extremely hot and sets, it's very dense, and that's how you get granite rock. And in the core, you will have sarsen stone, which is the strongest stone on Earth. You can actually use sarsen to cut granite, believe it or not. And they do. The ancients used to use, you see all these granite blocks around, like statues and not statues, standing stones and things. They're cut with sarsen rocks. Sarsen as just it's anything heavier, anything denser will cut something lighter, basically. Right. Anyway, back to the things. How do you think Snakemen would fight?
Individually. They won't go in as one chunk of men. They'll go in like separated from each other, like a strategized wall.
Which would negate the spear, because spears are used in groups.
Plus, they'll be really fast.
Yes, they would be. Snakes are fast.
I don't think they're guerrilla war type guys. I think they'll just wait for the enemy to be marching through their area and then just jump them, ambush.
Yeah.
I think that'll be their kind of fighting.
Probably rush attack. Because if you think of snakes, you ever seen a snake lunge? Dart forward. If you think these are snakes, basically, they would probably have the ability to tense all the muscles and do quite a long leap for a man-sized creature. So they would probably be able to come up to your battle line and then just leap forward. So you're there with your weapon ready to fight, but he's suddenly in your face before he's way closer to you.
It could poison you.
Oh, of course, fangs. They have venom. So, given that your actual face makes venom, they can not only bite you with venom.
It could paralyze you.
They could bite their own weapons, or they could make the venom come out of their teeth or their venom ducts, and cover their own blades in venom. And so
I think that they'll kind of battle. If they were in a war, they'll probably like ransack a city, and then run back to the main area where they live.
Yeah, take all the stuff away with them rather than conquer.
Make them come to the snakes.
That's quite a good one.
Snakes territory.
Yeah, so they'd raid a town. They'd raid a Roman town or whatever, and then they would withdraw, and the Romans would retaliate by sending troops into the jungle.
And then they'll come out over again.
Yeah, and
because
never
the
get
snakes have home advantage.
Yeah, that's actually quite good. That. So yeah, snakes have quite a few possibilities, don't they, as an enemy to play against.
Yeah.
And they would be terrible to fight against as well. They would be so fast.
Well, no, I mean, really all the Romans have to do is burn down the forests.
Alright, we're looking at logic now. Yeah, the Romans actually would do that. They would just deforest the entire
Maybe not
area.
first, it'd probably take them a while to do it because lizards would probably live next to a river or high water area, so it won't really work against them.
Well, that's not going to stop the forest burning down.
Well, no, but it helps the Romans because then you can locate them easily
Yeah.
where lizards will be.
You could have Romans doing riverine warfare.
Or if you're trying to, if your supplies come through a river, you're screwed.
Yeah, you would be. Because they'd be able to jump onto the boats regardless of the and I would assume they can swim quite well as well.
No, they are
Yes, they're amphibious, so they would be able to swim and get to your boats that way. You're really in trouble fighting them. They're a terrible enemy. How on earth did humanity survive to this point? If it wasn't for Conan, we'd have been stuffed, wouldn't we?
Well, we've learned to stay away from big forests.
Yeah. When the Romans invaded Europe, Europe was covered in trees, mostly. There was farmland, the Celts did farm. But huge tracts of Europe was solid forest, especially Britain. Britain was nearly entirely forest, apart from the areas where there was high density human population, and we used to cut the trees down so we could hunt the game, we could channel the game. And when the Romans arrived in Europe, they didn't like it. They didn't like trees. The Romans were allergic to trees, so they just cut all the trees down, which is why Europe has no trees, and which is why Germany still to this day has massive forests, really thick, dense, primordial forest, because the Romans didn't go there, because they tried to fight in the forest and the Germans massacred them. Can't use Roman tactics in a forest. You can use screaming German barbarian tactics in a forest. And the Romans are the Germans are very good at hit and run and ambush tactics in forests. The Germans would wait for days on end while the Romans marched past before they jumped out.
And not just that, lizards will be. Won't the snakes be camouflaged? They'll be completely camouflaged.
Good point. Yes, you're right. They would actually be. Their skin would be the colour of the terrain they preferred.
And they'll probably paint the armour just exactly the same, so you can't see them coming.
Yeah. If you think about, I mean, the box art figures. These chaps. That doesn't look. Well, I suppose it does look a little bit snake-like, but in reality, snakes are multicoloured creatures, or you get completely yellow snakes, black
Green,
snakes.
Black.
Britain has the snakes we have in Britain are either bright green, yellow, or not yellow, black, or sort of a browny colour. I'll tell you something. We were once on a hike, and when one of the elder leaders was taking us there, he stopped in the middle of the path and he stopped everyone walking and he pointed, and there was a pile of dirt, and we all stood around this pile of dirt, and then the pile of dirt turned into a snake and slithered away.
You'd be screwed if you.
It looked exactly like a pile of you couldn't, because the way there was leaves and stuff on the floor, but the snake was in such a way that it made itself look like just a pile of debris on the floor. And if you didn't know the snake was there,
Bite you.
yeah, and they bite. They really do bite. They sink their gnashes into you, and it really hurts. I know I got bit by one. They're not very nice things. My own fault. I put my hand outside a tent and I picked something up and it bit me. So, and apparently it was a snake. So, I don't
Plus,
know.
they won't be easy to kill. No, that armour.
What is that? I mean, how much damage can a snake take? I mean, they're pretty much all muscle. So they
You'd feel pain a lot.
Oh, they would, but they would be able to take quite a bit of impact damage. I mean, I don't think they'd react well to bladed weapons, but then I'm not really sure. No.
I don't know how snakes heal. I don't.
Well, they shed their skin. So if it survives the wounds, it would simply eventually replace the
So better
top
knows.
layer of skin.
So
well,
I've
yeah.
had this carpet burn for like 2 weeks now.
Yeah, if you think about it, humans, we get our ability to heal from the Neanderthals, which was passed down to us, which is the ability to heal actually quite severe wounds. If you break your leg and you set it, your leg will heal. the bone will fuse back together again by itself. That's I'm not getting into the biology behind that, but we inherited that from our Neanderthal ancestors, because apparently sometime in the past, some Homo sapien, whatever you call people, bumped into some Neanderthals and quite liked the look of them, and they had happy fun time. So we have between 2 and 4% Neanderthal DNA in Europeans. I think there's the people in Neanderthal DNA are mostly Europeans. I think does the Chinese have some, or is it a different one they've got? I think there was a different creature like Neanderthal that they've got. And Africans have none, so they have no Neanderthal DNA.
Well,
So clearly they never met the Neanderthals.
I think they have more bones than us.
They do. They have stronger bones and extra spinal, extra bones in the spine. Chinese have an extra bone in their leg, or one of the ethnic groups of Chinese have an extra bone in their leg, because they live in a very mountainous region.
We have nothing.
No, we don't really live in a mountainous region. We tend to stick to valleys, don't we?
And we just sit there and build an army and shoot people that we don't like.
Well, if you think about it, if you evolve in an area with wide open savanna, boiling hot heat all the time, you're gonna evolve very thick hair to protect you from the sunlight, to protect your head from the sunlight, to stop yourself from burning. Your skin's gonna be protect you against the burning of the sun, which is why when Europeans go on holiday to Africa, we get sunburnt, and the Africans don't. And the Africans come to Britain and they suffer from rickets and things like that because their skin doesn't have the ability to absorb the sunlight that we have in Europe.
And one last thing.
We didn't evolve to live here.
One last thing for the Snakemen. If you're a Roman and that, it's going to be hot in that forest. And
yes, it's... Oh, yes.
You're not going to want to wear too much and you're going to get malaria and die.
Yeah, it's funny, we were talking the other day, weren't we? The amount of adventurers and stuff who tried to invade countries and then died of malaria.
Yeah. The British did it against the Japanese.
Yeah,
nice shots, good shots, aren't they?
Yes.
That's what you do in these situations.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
The Japanese won not because of amazing Japanese technical skill and amazing Japanese soldiers. They won because most of the British army was very, very unwell.
I had to go home.
Yes, because we were all wearing shorts and the Japanese wore jumpers.
And bicycles.
And those, what do they call the things that you wrap around your knee to stop things cutting your leg? You wrap around.
It's like a massive.
Putties.
It's like a really thick sock.
Yeah, it's like putties. The Japanese knew what they were doing. We didn't have a clue. We were just stupid Europeans.
Yeah, the Japanese stayed
fighting in the jungle.
The Japanese stayed underground, and we stayed above ground with our tanks. Realised we couldn't do anything with our tanks, and didn't win.
I feel sorry for the Indians the most. There were a shed ton of soldiers from the Punjab who were holding. We'd created a battle line in Malaya, a gun line basically, because we'd been beaten by the Japanese several times. We said, right, what we're going to do is we're just going to create a gun line and we're just going to kill anything that comes in front of us. So we're just going to shell the daylights out of these guys. And the Japanese saw that we had a gun line, so got back on their landing craft and went around the coast and landed behind us. Which was the last thing we expected them to do. So the British army said, oh dear, the Japs have outmanoeuvred us, let's bug out. And the British left and didn't tell the Indian troops. Because they figured, well, the Indians will slow the Japanese down.
Wow.
That is horrific. And then we stuffed the Australians.
They're not wrong.
Yeah, and then the Australians and the Canadians were fighting at Singapore. And the Japanese would come through the mangrove swamps because the British had made a defence line. And they said, right, we'll defend this bit here because there's no way the Japanese will come through the mangrove swamps. So the Japanese came through the mangrove swamps and didn't attack the place that was dangerous. And as soon as the British realised they were outflanked, they left the Australians and the Canadians to die. And just left. They got on the trucks, drove away and just left all our Allied troops to die, our Commonwealth troops. And we just fled back to the port.
This is what you're doing, British Dad.
Just an army of
we
cowards.
have a British Empire, okay? There's not a lot of actual British soldiers, okay? There's just allies. There's millions of allies. You just need to get rid of the allies.
Yes, but surely, I mean, the Romans would be during the days of the Roman Empire, or any Persian Empire, the elite Persian troops were the Medes, or the backbone of the Persian army were the Medes because they were Persians. And they would go in and show the allied Persian troops, the lesser Persian groups, that they were the ones in charge because they would actually go in and face the enemy. The British ran away and let our colonies do the fighting.
What do you have colonies for?
It's just, but surely the British should have been showing the way and saying, right, you guys retreat, we'll hold this line while you guys get out.
Well, no, because all the Canadians and... Was it Canadians and...
It was the Canadians and the Australians.
So the Canadians and Australians all die, and we can say that we stood there and fought.
So some of them actually fought until they ran out of bullets, and some of them did run away. But that happens in all armies. I'm sure the Japanese had people who suddenly pretended to be a Malayan.
I bet in Vietnam lots of Americans went, nah, screw this.
Well, they just became stoners and they started to be hospitalised out.
The platoon really doesn't make it look good, does it?
Because it wasn't, it was a disaster.
And the platoon is just like, oh look, it's the guy in charge of the regiment. Oh, he's stoned. Okay.
Yeah. But the thing was, you see a lot of American war movies set, and they're all American, and they're set in the Vietnam War, and it shows the Americans as being rubbish. Can I just point out, the Americans never lost a single battle.
They still lost.
Yeah, but they never lost a battle.
I'm sorry,
they won every single engagement.
They were a massive country called America versus this icky bit of Vietnam, and they lost.
Yeah, because you have no... The Americans just... See, we had the same problem in Malaya, in Burma.
No, sorry, but the Americans are horrible. They used to go into towns and murder the people, murder the civilians. Like, who does that?
Yeah, I know. But that's because you've got young men who've been conscripted into the army. You give them a rifle, and then you scare the living daylights out of them and don't let them sleep for 3 weeks.
Go rape and murder all the people in that village. Oh look, the Vietnam army just realised that we just did that. Now they're really angry.
Yeah, I know, because your discipline breaks down. Because they're not given the support that they needed.
Hang the soldiers that did it, and the others won't do it.
Yeah, I know. In the British Army, you do that. That's what the British Army did. But you can't do that in the American Army.
Why?
Because they're a republic.
Oh, God.
The British used to execute British soldiers just like anything. We were very good at killing our own soldiers if they were stepped out of line. We'd hang them.
Yeah, we were the biggest empire that's ever been noticed.
Because we have because of the system, the way our country works. The Americans, they would find it very hard to execute their own soldiers because it's primarily a volunteer army, although they did bring in conscription. Because the soldiers, it's to do with the way that societies function and the way armies function off the back of the society.
Well, I think that's it.
Yeah. That will be a 4-hour video explaining that. There's a lot of data to support both points of view, so leave that to it. Right, this has been the Snakemen from the Ghost Archipelago. I really need to look up Ghost Archipelago and have a good look at it because the figures are brilliant. They've got pirates, which are sort of pirates. Like literally pirates, and they've got all sorts of other stuff there. There's some interesting stuff, and I'm also looking into their Frostgrave's fantasy stuff. Fantasy elves and orcs and dwarves and stuff. They've got some decent figures going at the moment. So keep an eye out for one of those videos later on. Over to you.
So if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe, and comment down below what you think of the Snakemen from Ghost Archipelago.
Well done. You did well there, didn't you?
I didn't say A. You said the A and go.
Archipelago.
Yeah, I go. I said go.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. Right, thank you very much for watching.
Yeah.
It's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from you.
Yeah, goodbye.
Yeah, same. Right,
That's
so
through
long.
that. Yeah, I know. It's been 3 weeks. No, so you got. When did you fail your exams?
A month.
See, I tripped you up there.